Vodacom is a digital society whereby we provide infrastructure, connectivity, and as you know, even from the UN point of view, connectivity becomes one of the human rights. And there are a good number of deliberate actions. There are like 8 of them that will ensure everybody is connected. And for sure, with us, it's not only providing the connectivity, the infrastructure, the network, but also producing use cases that are being addressed or saved by our platforms and the content. Again, inclusion is one of our big pillars when it comes to delivering our services. We believe we have to have solutions for all. We have to ensure that no matter if you are at the rural area or in urban, you get the same service, you get the same quality. And also, we take care of those with, not to say people with disabilities, but with different challenges. So you'll realize that Vodacom has been pushing this agenda by not only ensuring that our point of contacts, our Voda shops, our point of sales, they have option to allow people with disabilities to walk in, but also we have solutions that are tailored to deliver support to those people. So those with challenges on vision, we have a solution called Sauti Pass, whereby your voice is your password. So having that challenge won't limit you to enjoy the world-class platform of M-Pesa. Recently, we just launched another solution that takes care of people who cannot hear properly. So in our support, in our call center, there are specialized desks that are taking care of people who use signs. So that's not a limit for us. We'll keep innovating to ensure that we deliver solutions that caters for all. And the last thing is that we are not ready to do any business that will compromise our planet. So for us, ESG is critical. We've been committing not only at the regional, but at the global level. From the COP27, COP26, there are very deliberate actions from the Vodacom on ensuring that we go green, we introduce smart solutions so that we reduce carbon content. For more, you can even see in our websites, their commitment by 2030 onto how we are going to execute that commitment. Now, let's go to the topic of today. What is Vodacom Digital Accelerator? We saw a gap when we were not only trying to onboard graduates from different universities within the region, but also the level of competence of our own innovation people compared to the others. And as a company, because we believe in empowering and giving back to society, we said, no, we need to really address this problem. So the program is really meant to support early stage growth for technology startups with disruptive products and services to the market. The solution has to address the challenges that we have in Tanzania. The solutions has to be a game changer that will not only transform those individuals, but also will address our challenges in the digital economy at large. Our startups, our accelerator program offers expert training from all over the Vodafone footprint. We offer mentorship. We offer technology support. We offer marketing, regulatory support, to mention a few. The aim is to ensure that these individuals, they are fast-tracked into the high sustainable revenue generations. And we have testimonies, examples from our cohort 1. It's an ecosystem whereby it has got main four areas. We have application phase, whereby we normally give 2 months for this individual to apply. Then we do the pre-acceleration, whereby we start selecting and checking the critical criteria. And again, we go into the really acceleration phase of 12 weeks. And the winners, after the demo day, are enrolled in the 6-month intensive training, which offers workshops, boot camps, etc. Now, 2 weeks ago, the Fridays of the 3rd of March, we had our demo day for our second cohort, which was so successfully, and we were happy not only with the quality, but also with the way other markets, even within our own community, were so impressed in such a way that they want similar program, and they want us to share these guys so that their solution can be also deployed in the other countries. So you can imagine a setup in Tanzania having opportunity to share the solution or to implement the solution in all of the Vodafone. It's huge opportunity. As I've said in the past, we have done 2 cohorts. Cohort 1, we had 15 startups, and the cohort 2, we had 12 startups, with all over 800 applicants, and we had 35 mentors. We did 18 workshops, 4 boot camps, over 100 demo attentions. I will be so happy again if the cohort 2 winners will go further, as we saw from cohort 1. For us, this cohort 2 had main motto that was accelerate your growth. Now, to summarize what happened for cohort 1 and cohort 2, may I ask your attention for a very short video which can speak more than what I've said.
Startups play an integral role in solving problems and challenges in our society. And with the rate of our fast-growing economy, enabling startups is key to our country's development. In its pursuit to foster more startup success stories in the Tanzanian ecosystem, Tanzania's top telco, Vodacom Tanzania, launched the Vodacom Digital Accelerator Program Season 1 in 2019 in collaboration with SmartLab. On April 25, 2022, SmartLab, in partnership with Vodacom Tanzania, began this incredible journey with the launch of Season 2 of the Vodacom Digital Accelerator Program. In promoting and creating awareness of the program, we embarked on an info session hub tour across various regions of Tanzania to search for disruptive, innovative, and promising tech startups with solutions that could transform communities within the areas of education, fintech, e-commerce, agriculture, health, cybersecurity, and entertainment. Over 200 startup applications were received during the application phase, demonstrating the appetite for startup growth among the youth in Tanzania. That followed a period of careful selection of the quality startups that meet the criteria to join the program, and later unveiling the 12 startups selected for the acceleration program, including Shule Yetu Innovations, Smart Darasa, Lango Academy, Vijana Tech, Hakit Consultancy, Seto, Twenzao, Get Value, Speedy Africa, Medpack, BusyTech, and BusyPay.
I would like to once again congratulate all our last season winners. So season 2 will offer so excellent technical support, access to international partners.
Congratulations again that you went through the hectic application process and interviews, but all was to filter out and get the best. So congratulations to you guys.
The startups for the VDA Season 2 have received intensive training, bootcamps, and mentorship sessions from experienced mentors with valuable expertise in catalyzing their business growth.
The experience so far has been very great, and when you share your experience, it means also giving back to the community, and it's part of Vodacom's purpose as well, as an employee, as a leader, to connect the society for a better future.
From Vodacom's efforts to support and empower young girls in STEM, VDA Season 2 merged with Vodacom's Code Like a Girl program through having selected alumni from the program join the VDA program to learn from not only the experienced mentors through mentorship sessions, but also the 12 startups themselves who worked hand in hand with them while building their products.
So the Code Like a Girl this year, for the first time, we're going to put it together with the accelerator, the digital accelerator program, and the people from the smart codes, or rather the programs that we have with the startups, will then be their mentors to help them develop and continue to entice them. That way, by the time they get to the level that the smart codes, or rather the level that the accelerator programs are, the startups, then they are at a higher level because they started at a young age.
My experience at the VDA Bootcamp Season 2 has been very exciting. I have gotten an opportunity to be a part of sessions where have been very engaging experience, and frankly speaking, I hope to use the knowledge that I've gotten today to be very beneficial.
The VDA Season 2 has been an incredibly fruitful collaboration with tremendous mentors and sessions that have assisted my business to understand itself now in the present and in the future years to come.
The Season 2 program concludes with the Demo Day event, which is the peak of the VDA program and a culmination of all their hard work over the 3 months of acceleration they received. Only the top 3 startup winners will get a chance to proceed further with a 6-month validation phase after the acceleration, which is left for the judges and the overall innovation ecosystem to decide. Thank you to all ecosystem key players and partners for the support shown in the program through a community of mentors, investors, and the innovation ecosystem at large. Congratulations to all the 12 startups that participated in our program, and hello to those that aspire to be part of our program during the next season. Be sure to look out for Season 3 as we continue to groom and shape the Tanzanian innovation ecosystem by supporting startups with impactful ideas that will change the future of our nation through technology. Until Season 3, let's take the next step to innovate Africa. Innovation for Africa. Together we can.
Thank you very much. So that was a quick summary of what we do from Digital Accelerator point of view. And as we've heard that for the first time this year, we combined with another program that we will also hear in the next slide. So for us, innovation is part of a DNA, and it starts inside the organization. So each year we do run an internal hackathon program. And this year with an Africa soccer theme because of the AFCON, which was for last year. As you can see there, we had, with our motto of Innovate Africa, and all the Nations Cup for Innovate Africa competition was there. Those were the 9 countries that were competing each other. Unfortunately, this year we didn't win, but last year we won. So this year the award went to South Africa. But is that a culture of innovating? And with this kind of program, we don't only do on our own, we also invite external stakeholders to come and judge what our internal staff are doing. So we had people from the innovation ecosystem in Tanzania who came to our office to validate and assist on judging. Apart from that, as you heard about how do we collaborate with other programs with the academia, we have another program, it's called Graduate Trainee, which is being centralized from our group point of view, and each country gets to participate accordingly. So since we started in 2015, with over 8,000 applicants, that shows there's a really huge problem on addressing employment. And we could only onboard 97, at the very fair ratio of almost 50-50 female to male. And out of 97, we hired 66 of them, and 20 already left. But those who are with us are not only at the very junior level, but you can see we have manager level over 10 and medium level 52. So we do really collaborate with different universities on ensuring we collaborate and train graduates. And these graduate trainees are across the organization, from business point of view, customer service, cybersecurity, digital, finance, to mention a few. And as I speak, we just onboarded 17 of them. They are now on the second week of onboarding, and we will be with them till next year when we will get another batch. So we've been doing this since 2015. On the other side, we saw another challenge on STEM subjects, and we did corroborate again with University of Dar es Salaam, the co-ICT one, with D-Lab. And this also has trained over 1,700 girls since we started 4 years ago. And it's not only in Dar es Salaam, but it's for the entire country, Arusha, Dodoma, Mbeya, etc. And of course, one of the our obligation is to ensure we create environment for students to come and learn, whereby we onboard each year an average of 15 students to do the so-called field attachment or practical training. I think with that, I would like to once again share my heartfelt appreciation for inviting us to showcase what we've been doing on addressing sustainable employment, but also on trying to build how to bridge the gap on the digital point of view. Thank you very much, and over to Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nguvu Kamando from Vodacom. From the presentation, you've noticed that the appetite for support is very high. Vodacom is only trying, but the number of candidates applying for placement and support is quite very high. Now I'm going to invite the panelists to discuss on the same, and in this case, I want to invite the first panelist, Mr. Dr. Erastus Mongare. Dr. Mongare is an executive director and the founder of Startup Africa. Startup Africa invests in building an entrepreneurial community of tomorrow's business leaders through training, mentorship, and access to capital. I want to invite him to come forward to present himself. And while he prepares for presentation, I want him to address the following question. Just come in. How do you characterize young graduates as tomorrow's business leaders? That is the question that I want you to concentrate as you take your seat. Can you please come in? The next panelist is Professor Jude Lubega. Professor Jude Lubega is a professor of information technology with vast experience in ICT for development, ICT for D. Professor Jude is currently the Vice Chancellor of Nkumba University in Uganda. Nkumba University is a university where excellence is created, nurtured, practiced, and celebrated. This is how they identify themselves. So, Professor, if you are around, please welcome. And as you come in, consider the following question. What progress have you made in the creation, nurturing, practicing, and celebrating excellence in your university? I'll repeat again for you, don't worry. The third person I want to invite is Mr. John Matogo from IBM. Mr. John Matogo is a corporate social responsibility manager for IBM. He's a leader of the Middle East and Africa. And Mr. John Matogo, I want you to address the following question. How best can companies use CSRs to create and nurture sustainable partnership with academia? The fourth candidate is Dr. Raimondi Ndikumana. Dr. Raimondi is an expert in management, accounting, and control, with a special interest in stock markets, higher education management, and development. Dr. Raymond worked at the University of Rwanda as a Deputy Vice Chancellor for Strategic Planning and Administration. You're most welcome. And as you think about how you're going to share your experience and practice, consider the following question. Yesterday, we agreed that Africa will not be left behind from the fourth industrial revolution. The question is, are we on track? What else needs to be done so that we are not left behind? The fifth person is, again, Johnny Nsumba. Johnny Nsumba is an electronic and communication engineer. He is also a industrial liaison officer for the East Triple Rafik project and Director General of the DIT Company Limited based in Dar es Salaam. Dar es Salaam Institute of Technology has established a company. By the way, is John around? Johnny Nsumba, are you around? If he's not around, then I'm going to skip him. I'm going to invite Dr. Devota Nyambo. Dr. Devota Nyambo, can you come forward, please? Dr. Devota Nyambo comes from the School of Computational and Communication Sciences and Engineering at Nelson Mandela African Institute of Science and Technology. Devota is a specialist in machine learning and by extension, artificial intelligence, if you agree. Devota is an industrial liaison officer at the Center for Excellence in ICT at Nelson Mandela African Institute of Science and Technology. Dr. Devota, please give a seat. And as you take your seat, I want you to consider and tell us about your gender experience as you grow up as a scientist and a promoter for academia private partnership programs in the university. So I'll begin with the first person, and this is none other than Dr. Erasmus Mongare. Can you share your experience and practice for academia private partnership program in the company that you're leading?
Good morning, everybody. I would like to, first of all, to take this opportunity to thank the organizers for extending the invitation to me to come and join you today, especially to share my experiences. And also a quick correction, I'm not Dr. Erastus Mongare. I get that on a very regular, many times people tend to refer me to Dr. Mongare. So maybe they're challenging me to go back to school and get my doctorate. So for the vice chancellors that are here and are looking for a PhD candidate, please, let's talk after this. But my own experiences, I'll tie them to an Ethiopian proverb that says, when spider webs unite, they can entangle a lion. When spider webs unite, they can entangle a lion. And I say that because we know that the many challenges, many issues that we deal as a continent, from our institutions to the private sector, all cannot be borne by one entity. And I refer to the work especially that my organization, Startup Africa, has done since 2011 when we were founded. We know that when we were founded, we had an urgent need to address the youth unemployment challenge that came as a result of the post-election violence that happened in Kenya in 2007. For those of you who are old enough and were following news at that particular time, that was one of the ugliest and darkest moments of what happened in Kenya. But for me as a diaspora, I'm based in the US, I felt that there was a need to address that issue. And the issue was the founding of Startup Africa and asking myself, what is it that I can do in partnership with other people, institutions, to address the problem of youth unemployment? Because I'd met a group of youth from Kibera, the biggest slums in Africa. Most of them were college graduates, and their cry at that particular time was unemployment that had been promised to them by one of the presidential candidates. As the organization came to be, the first people that we engaged were a group of MBA students from the University of Delaware in the state of Delaware, USA, to do a research for us on any organizations that were in Kenya at that particular time that were addressing any issues around youth entrepreneurship, youth and employment. And after the semester-long research that was led by their professor, Professor Kimet, they presented their findings to us, and their first solution, their first recommendation to us was, if we are really going to make an impact, let's start by impacting the lives of young people at the high school level. So the first program that we launched in 2013 touched on students from 12 high schools, but that program has since grown to over 850 high schools in Kenya alone. We have also worked with high school students in Tanzania and Uganda. But beyond that, we've also been able to replicate the same program to work with TVET students in a number of African students, all in the spirit of how do we impact entrepreneurship, innovation mindset to them, so that as they go through their studies, they are preparing themselves to be the future job creators versus the job seekers of the future. And in the work that we have continued to do, one of the aspects that I can say that has really been instrumental in the successes that we have seen since then is the partnerships that we've created with a number of universities. For example, in Kenya, we are in 6 universities. Here in Tanzania, we have partnered with the University of Dar es Salaam, and in Uganda, University of Makerere. In the USA, we have had collaborations with a number of universities and in a number of areas. We have had opportunities through the partnerships that we have with some of these universities to invite academics like yourselves and other industry leaders to the USA, maybe for conferences, for joint research projects and other things. And also, for example, one of the things that we do in our program, after our students have gone through the Startup Africa Innovation Olympiad, which is a pitch competition, the very best 10 teams are invited to the USA for 2 weeks. When they go to the USA, they're not just going to walk in the streets of New York City. We take them to universities, we take them to industries for first-hand experience. For example, one of our biggest partners, SAP, for those of you who are in tech, in the last trip that we did, they had our students job shadowing their employees for a full day to get a first-hand experience of this person who's a software engineer, what does he or she do? Or this person who's an accountant, what does he or she do? And that, to me, is what really adds value to the work that we're doing, because at the end of the day, we don't just want to be about theory. We don't just want to be about talk, but showing our students that as we invite them to participate in the Startup Africa Innovation Olympiad, there is life beyond the ideas that they bring to the stage. And also looking at going back to my opening statement, that the quote from Ethiopia, that when spider webs unite, they can entangle a lion. How do we bring the strengths from industry and the strengths from academia or organizations like Startup Africa to be able to tackle a bigger problem like the youth unemployment? In our 10th year anniversary celebration in 2021, as an organization, we made a bold move that by the year 2030, would like to have reached 10 million youth across the continent of Africa. It is a big undertaking, but for us, we know that after many deliberations, and these deliberations actually happened during the pandemic with a number of key people, we decided that if we are going to meet that goal, we need to look at strategic partners from academia, industry, etc. So one of the goals that we said that we were going to do by the end of last year was bring in industry leaders. These are CEOs, managing directors, or successful business people from different areas to join our advisory board. And these people with their own experiences, huge networks, are the people that we're tapping into for their experiences, for their networks, to help us reach that goal of 10 million young people by the year 2030. In October, we are going to convene young people from 26 African countries in Nairobi. And again, this success won't happen just by us as an organization, but by tapping into different people from different sections to join us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a very good experience, and I want to thank you very much for the contribution. You are becoming more regional than I thought. So you're attending to people from Uganda, Kenya, and even the US. Thank you very much. Now I want to invite Professor Jude Lubega. Professor Jude Lubega, remember my question? How do you nurture, practice, and celebrate excellence with the private sector at Nkumba University?
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How do we nurture excellence within Nkumba University with support from the private sector? Probably that's the question. There's quite a lot that can be done. The relationship between the industry and academia, as well know, it's not something that is new, but it's something that is nurtured out of the aspirations between the two parties. We have the private sector the other side, or the industry the other side, and we have academia. These are all very busy people. And many times they never come together to share synergies for the good of a relationship that needs to be created. There are so many institutions out there. We heard from Turkey yesterday, but even in Africa, we have seen universities or academia that have nurtured such relationships that have led to excellence that we want to talk about. What have we done in Nkumba? One, we have gone to the industry, to the private sector, in the different disciplines. I just want to give you 2 examples. All our lecturers in the School of Law are attached to a firm, a law firm. All they own law firms. This is something that has created a lot of excellence in teaching law at Nkumba University, because they all teach from practice. And this has been able to generate a bleed of students or graduates that are very, very, very good within the industry. So as academia, how do we get part of the people that teach our students to be part of the industry? We need to be very deliberate in trying to nurture that excellence. Can we have 20, 30% as part of our lecturers, right, coming from the industry? Because whatever they teach will be what the industry requires, and they will be imparting the skills that are required by the industry. And therefore, you are nurturing excellence within the academia through these practitioners. As academia, we have to be very deliberate on certain things. We need to reach out to the industry through the different engagements that we make. Example from the IT sector. Every Friday at Nkumba University, we have what we call the Innovations Friday. This is an afternoon where students engage with the industry. We have an industry practitioner coming right to the university and carry out different engagements with the students, train them different skills that the industry is practicing. This is helping a lot the students to connect right with the industry, hence nurturing the sort of excellence that we need an IT graduate going to the industry. We have created a lot of collaborations. End of April, we shall be having a student hackathon that is being supported by the industry. That is Innovations Village, where they're coming in with their resources to nurture students in ICT innovations. the last months of 2022, we held a symposium in collaboration with Cavendish University. And the aim was, how do we bring the business industry into the two academic institutions so that they can nurture excellence in what is done in business? All these are geared to make sure we bring the industry closer to academia and hence nurture the excellence we are looking out for. It's not going to become deliberate that our students taught by theoretical teachers are going to be ready for the industry. But we just need to make sure that we have the industry practitioners coming right to the academia, supporting us in whatever we do in trying to nurture the graduate that we want the industry appreciate. If we don't do that, then the industry will keep on saying you're graduating out students that don't fit the industry. Look at the curriculum we run. Many times when we are reviewing the curriculum, we invite the practitioners, the industry, to come and be part of the curriculum review. And this is supporting in creating really curriculum that fits the industry and supporting graduates in one way or another. They keep on putting in projects. Let's do ABCD, let's do together ABCD, and this is helping. So there's quite a lot we can do in trying to nurture excellence within the academia through the industry or the private sector.
Thank you very much, Professor Jude Lubega. I think you have answered my question correctly. What we are doing is quite impressive. I want to invite the industry. In this case, I want to bring in John Matogo from IBM. As you prepare your presentation, I want you to respond to the question, how best can companies use the CSR to build partnership with the private sector? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, and good morning, everyone. First of all, I think I would also, similar to my colleagues, express my gratitude to ICF for inviting me to this particular gathering, and hopefully, maybe in future we'd have more people from industry also participating. I think the dialogue that is happening here is good, and I encourage you to continue. I think before I answer the question, let me just roll back a little bit and just mention in what context a company like IBM is involved in this kind of engagement. So IBM is a technology company. This year we're 112 years old as a company, and the collaboration between IBM and academia has been there for many years. I think since the 1940s, when we had the first computer system coming online, I mean, that was really an innovation that was done between IBM and Harvard University at the time. So one thing I would say is, I mean, a company like ours, we are a learning organization, right? So to be in the space of innovation, we need to continue, looking ahead and seeing what we can do. Our purpose as an organization is actually to be the catalyst to make the world work better. And, it goes without saying that in addition to just doing the commercial aspect of the business, I think it's also important that being a good citizen, a good organization that operates in a community, that we also give back. I think this is the idea behind our corporate social responsibility. Being a social organization is also good for business eventually, because we exist within an ecosystem. So from our perspective as a corporate social, from a corporate social responsibility, we have three focus areas. One is skills enablement. So this is where we are looking at developing the workforce of the future. So developing talent and skills amongst different categories of learners. We also have a big focus on sustainability. The previous speaker talked about ESG, which is also a big framework that we also adopt as an organization. So sustainability is something that is key for us. And then the final piece is volunteerism. We have a workforce of about 280,000 IBMers globally. And one of the things that you realize from a company like ours is that the staff are also very eager to give back to the communities where they come from. So how can institutions, education institutions, take advantage of this CSR offerings? Well, I mean, each organization would obviously have different missions for the CSR. In my case, I've mentioned the 3 areas. So if you look at the skills element, what we do is make available our technology to the universities. And the idea is to make it possible for the faculty and the students to do their core business, which is research, learning, and so on, using those technologies. And I think some speakers have mentioned that when maybe the students graduate, when they get into the workforce, they meet technologies or meet new systems that they may not have experienced. So our objective is to make these technologies available on campus so that as students are going through the academic training, they can experience, they can interact, they can use those technologies. And when they join the workforce, if they find some of our technologies, they can be productive from day one. For the faculty, to enable you carry out your research and your innovation work, you make use of the state-of-the-art technologies. So what we give to our commercial customers, the banks and so on, and the telcos, we make available at no charge to our academic partners, right? So yesterday there was, I believe it was the executive secretary was mentioning, the artificial intelligence and data science. So all these technologies, we make them available at no charge to our academic partners. For the students, same thing. We also have a lot of learning resources and computing environment where we can make available for the students to have an environment where they can innovate. And my personal objective is to make it possible for students, at least in the region that I cover, have access to the same computing resources as their counterparts in any other part of the world. And then the other piece I would say is the volunteerism component. As IBMers, we've got teams of experts in different fields. So as universities, if you're looking for expertise in one way or another, we could also explore that kind of collaboration where we have subject matter experts in different areas collaborating with you to explore different areas of technology that you'd like some input from. So in the area of curriculum development, in the area of guest lectures, for example, just to bring in an industry perspective into the lecture hall. So these are all opportunities that we could explore. And the final one that I'll mention from the Sustainability Accelerator, actually earlier this week, we launched we usually have a call for proposals where we invite interested parties who are interested in doing work in the area of sustainability to apply for support from this call. This year, the focus is on water. We announced the winners of last year's call at the COP27, and we're looking to do the same this year at COP28. So any of the universities that are doing work in the area of sustainability and at least focusing on water, we invite you to submit your proposals. This is a combination of cash and in-kind support. And then, we'll be able to see how we could leverage on technology in your sustainability interventions. So these are just 3 examples, at least from IBM perspective, how universities can actually cooperate through the CSR angle. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. I think Vice Chancellor will interact with you further on the same, because we are sharing a lot of opportunities for them to tap on. Next, I want to get something from Raymond next to me. Raymond, as you look at your presentation, are we on track? Are we losing the track on participation in the fourth industrial revolution?
Thank you, Chair. Before I respond to that, let me quickly introduce the University of Rwanda, because that serves as a context. The University of Rwanda is the only public and comprehensive university in Rwanda. And we have 6 colleges, and we are running our operation on 11 campuses. We have a population of about 51,000 students, and each year we graduate 6,000 students. Then if we are talking about industrial revolution, fourth industrial revolution, one question we always need to ask ourselves as academia is, what is it in there as university? It's all about disruptive change, if we look at it. But you academics who are here, you know it. Sometimes we say there are 2 institutions that are difficult to change, is the Catholic Church, and the next one is universities. So which means maybe the train is gone. What we could probably do is to catch it up at the next stop, but or maybe we wait for the 5th industrial revolution. But one point here is, what can we do as university? Talking about that population of 81,000 students, one, we know that with the 4th industrial revolution, talent management, talent nurturing is key. But today, if you have 51,000 students and other universities have 60, 70, or 80, how do you actually nurture the talent? How do you do that as a university? And of course, I want to highlight one initiative, for example, which I believe universities that are here can also try it out. We at the University of Rwanda, we are leveraging technology, and we are working with a company called Bag Innovation. Essentially, it's providing kind of virtual placement to all students, starting from the program, when they start the program till the end, and create some sort of digital badge, something that can show the skills that students have been attaining during their learning process. But also with the 4th industrial revolution, is that the university will not just train for the sake of training and the sake of graduating certain number. And for that, there's an initiative, for example, we are working on together with the government, essentially to train for a particular purpose. For example, we, with our biotechnology programs, we are now training to fill the gap, the skills gap, when it comes to pharma manufacturing initiative and also vaccine production. That means with the changes that are there, we're not going to have the luxury to just train for the sake of training. We need to be adaptive. But again, the universities are the really some of the hard institution to change. But why? It's because most of the time, the incentive for faculty is probably different from the incentive of the business or even the evolution of the whole development. For example, funding, faculty are mostly interested with professional development and funding. That is always tied to publication. But where will it get us? That will not get us, it's very important, but still it may not really accelerate the change that we want. How about thinking about the box, out of the box? And we say, from now onwards, we are going to be measuring the universities, not because we have graduated a certain number, but because they have we have employed or maybe 10% of our graduates starting their businesses. What if our research funding is targeted not to the publication only, but also to starting the business? Because sometimes when we are here, we always talk about youth, young people starting their own business. And my question is always, how about the professors who are here? How about us? How many have we started? We are supposed to be the one who have the knowledge, but we are always saying the youth, fine. But at the core, it means that if we want to really to catch up the fourth industrial revolution to the next stop, because the train has left, we need to change the way we do business as universities. I submit.
The train has left, so we have to catch up, right? Thank you very much. Now I want to bring the last speaker, that is Devota Nyambo. Devota Nyambo, can you also say something about gender dynamics in as far as academia private partnership programs are concerned? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Jonathan. And equally, my sincere appreciations to IUCIA for organizing this forum and also to give me the opportunity to share the experiences around academia, industry collaborations, and various issues now coming up into the gender roles and that. So first of all, with my experience in the field has been positive and also negative somehow, but I would like to pick a point from the last speaker. Universities needs to change the way we do stuff. And this is typically given by the program that we are running at the Nelson Mandela African Institution of Science and Technology. We are hosting the Center of Excellence in ICTs for East Africa, which is an implementation of partners from different places. But in general, we have DAD and IUCIA as our high learning academic partners, but also GIZ playing the role of advisory in the whole project. So with the Center of Excellence in ICTs for East Africa, we have a program, which is a master's program. It has, it spans in the whole of East African region. And so it is mandated to bridge the digital gap that exists within the region. But looking into its gender inclusion and equity perspectives, to me, it's like it is doing more than just bridging the digital gap, but rather to have a more inclusive and equitable opportunities for both women and men in the sectors of mobile systems, but also embedded systems as we're looking into the fourth and fifth industrial revolution. So with the experience that I have had as a professional in the field, I have picked a lot of lessons which I see we are trying our best at the center to make sure that we are promoting gender equity and inclusion for all the students and scholars that we engage with in the region. And among the things that we are doing well, and I would like to share them as experiences so that we can both learn and pick a few things that we can change as we're looking into revolutionizing how universities work. As the first area is how do we actually enroll our students? I have mentioned about the center taking the responsibility of the whole of East African region. And so you can imagine receiving applications from different member states. And at the same time, you still need to look into the gender distribution. And now as the students are coming, you need to have a proper infrastructure where the different gender groups can be comfortable and can also work towards this experiential master's program. So to me, the first point here is the universities, as we are working towards training, we need also to have good infrastructure and support systems for different gender groups. So this is important because as we are enrolling different scholars from different countries, they're coming in with different experiences and expectations. And actually, some of them have different challenges or uniquenesses, which actually require the institution and the center to address them and to support them as they are. And so as such, we need to have a good distribution of our staff to start with, because our staff acts as the focal points for the students. So we have seen that the distribution of the staffing roles in the center is to provide a good support system for the students as they're coming. The other area that we have done well is the delivery of the program. The program is very practical, hands-on, and industry-based. So the students have the opportunity to interact with various industries as a group, to come up with group projects which can actually solve certain challenges in the industry. But the other area is on the internship program, where the students are attached to different companies and for them to do practical work. So here, I think it is important that we look into the whole issue of how do we balance between the roles that the students are supposed to play at the industry and the experience that they will gain at the end. So we look into this by equipping the students with soft skills that will enable them to pitch themselves whenever they're trying to look for these opportunities. So as mentors, we come in to support the pitching process, but we put them at the forefront to make sure that they can equally express themselves, they can equally seek for these opportunities, and we come in as a support system for that process. Another area that we have tried our best to see that we are bridging the digital divide, but also making sure that different gender groups receive equitable opportunities and also are included in various professions, is to have industrial engagement for short-term certifications for our students, where we have done our best in having a good distribution of female and male towards short-term certification of a program such as in the SAP, IBM, and also some programs in Siemens. The other area that we also emphasize to bridge these gender hiccups is the outreach. Our students are having several programs where they can design activities to go down to the lower levels for spreading the word, encouraging and promoting underrepresented groups to come into the tech more. And this is also achieved through the student clubs. We have the Embedded and Mobile Systems Student Club, which is doing the best to groom a young professionals, I would say young academicians who are in secondary schools and tertiary academic institutions. And in such a way, we believe that we are grooming a next cohort of mentors in the field who have a good balance of the gender and have understood and have embraced the whole issues around equity and inclusion. So in summary, that's what I would like to express in terms of the gender aspects and how does that actually play part in our future development and the inclusion of various gender groups in the tech industry. Thank you.
Can you clap once again for the panelists? I want to bring forward Mr. Nguvu Kamando. Can you take a seat because we're going for a Q&A session, if you don't mind. Thank you. So we've heard from various speakers, Vodacom Tanzania, IBM, Startup Africa, University of Rwanda, Mkumba University, and Nelson Mandela African Institution of Science and Technology. I want now to open this discussion by asking you to ask any question. Professor Rai, yesterday you were asking whether university professors are taken to the industry. I hope that question was answered today. So I start from Makerere University. Can you give Professor from Makerere mic, please? Robert, where are your people? Maybe you speak to the system, it works, I think. Yeah. Go ahead.
Hello, is it on? Okay, thank you very much. I also
While you make your question, can you specifically direct the question to any one of the presenters here?
Oh, yes, I'll do that.
All right.
My name is Henry Aline Itwe and has been introduced. I come from Makerere University. Those who do not know Makerere University, Makerere is the mother university for the universities in East Africa. I want to direct my two observations or questions to one to Professor Rubega, my colleague from Nkumba University. You've said that the lecturers in law are allowed to or are attached to law firms, and they can go there and practice and bring that experience. I think that's very, very good. But of course, along with it comes I come from a public university. And so maybe that may help you to explain why I have these questions. One is the issue of sharing the proceeds. When those lawyers go to the law firms and they attach there and they handle cases and win or lose, of course, there are remunerations. So how do they share the proceeds with the university? Maybe you might also want to reflect on the mode of engagement. Are they part-time staff or are they full-time staff? Of course, in the public university, that may not easily work. Also, the flexibility in the timetable. Kampala has got a lot of jam. Kampala Entebbe Road has a lot of jam. So if someone is attending a court session in the High Court in Kampala, and they're supposed to deliver at a lecture at 10, and they delay because of the jam, how does the university take care of that? The second question is directed to John of IBM. You've said that you give universities ICTs to universities and to students free. I want you to be very, very specific on what you provide. If there are softwares, kindly give us the softwares that you give for free so that we're able to take the information back to our universities. Thank you.
Can I get another response from the media, from the audience? Yes, Professor. From Tibet, Kenya, right?
Yes, Tibet, Kenya.
Okay, good.
I hope one day I'll be professor. Yes, inshallah.
Go ahead.
Yes. Thank you so much. My name is Acharina from Ministry of Education, Kenya. I have a question probably for two panelists. One is for Dr. Raymond from the University of Rwanda, and another one is for John. I'm looking at training. Is it possible for academia to train for the future? Don't look for skills that are now. Is it possible for us to train are you able from IBM with technology to look at what skills will be required 50 years, 10 years ahead? Because as Professor said, the train has left the station. If we are training for now, by the time we finish the training, we'll never catch up with the train. So that is my question for both of them. Is it possible to train for the future? Yeah.
I think they got the question right. I will check the last question. No, there are quite many. So the lady next to you, please go ahead.
Thank you. Just a quick question for our guest that's not a doctor, but always referred as a doctor from Smart Africa. You shared your experience in regards to Industry Advisory Board. At the Ministry of Labor and Skills, where I'm from Ethiopia, we've started on that initiative where we've insisted on the colleges and the universities to have industry practitioners be part of the board. In fact, we've set a 50% minimum on the board have to be private sector practitioners, but we haven't been able to push on that other than, you know, the quarterly meetings, having them onboarded and being part of the polytechnic colleges. We haven't been able to go further on that. We've been pushing on that for the past 2 years, but other than the meetings, we haven't been able to really strengthen their contribution to the Polytechnic College. So I know you touched up on that as one of your success stories. Maybe if you can explain how you strengthened their contribution to the colleges. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you for giving me the chance. And my questions goes to the, I think generally to the speakers all, but in particular when we talk of the huge number of students that we produce from the universities that we graduate, for whom do we graduate them? Because if we talk of the industry, we know that the biggest employer in Africa, East Africa today is the government. Are the governments ready to absorb the skills that we train the students for? Is question number one. The second question is, are our universities responding to the needs of our communities? I know that we talk of skills, very specialized skills, highly learned, very technical. But how do our rural communities, because we know that in East Africa, majority of our populations are in rural communities. How do they respond? And I like very much what the Vodacom presenter said before, that they are even responding to the needs of those who cannot hear. How do we respond to the needs of those who cannot even have access to the universities, to the schools, and how do we attend to their needs? Any of you can answer my questions. Thank you very much.
So that question is for any one of you, especially in Kuba University and University of Rwanda. I'm going to take the last question from the young man. Please go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Titus Ngatia. I'm the director, Effortless Insight Africa, a firm based in Nairobi. And my question goes to engineer Commander. You did highlight, several stages of your how you support the incubated companies through the innovation challenge, the competition, and we've been having a lot of competitions in a lot of the East African countries, innovation challenges, and I always seek to find out whether there's any long-term vision with all these competition challenges, because there's also a lot of theft, IP theft of ideas from young innovators is happening a lot on the continent of Africa. And some of these ideas are later taken to Silicon Valley, repackaged and brought back here with either Kiswahili names or something like that. And I think something the government really needs to highlight. So perhaps maybe you could highlight for us the vision that Vodacom has in light of these projects. Are you going for the big game, or you just want, or you're just having these competitions where the winner gets a laptop and few $1,000 and then that's the end of the story? Then the second comment goes to Dr. Raymond. I entirely agree with your perspective that universities need to change how they do business. And the reason why that's a huge challenge for all of us in this room, and IUCA is because when I think of Mark Zuckerberg, who created Facebook, or I think of Vitalik Buterin, who came up with Ethereum at the age of 17, or maybe Bill Gates, or maybe Steve Jobs, what they all have in common is that their innovations thrived after they quit university. You know, I find that quite interesting. The innovations thrived after they quit university. So what is it that we can do, Dr. Raymond, and also Acha referenced it, one of the ones who asked the questions from the audience. What is our philosophy of education at the higher university, at the higher education level? Do we have a philosophy, or we are simply training people to look for jobs? Do we have an education, a definite philosophy of our higher education pursuits? So I'll appreciate to hear from Dr. Raymond on what you think about the disruption we need to have in the entire higher education and research ecosystem, so that we are able now to birth the innovations of the future that Acha Arena referred to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to stop from here, and I want to start from Vodacom Tanzania. Can you respond to the question that was directed to you?
Hello. Thank you very much once again. It's a great question. And for sure, you know, Vodacom being part of the Vodafone company, we do understand the impact of IPR, intellectual property right, but also we do understand the impact of privacy, etc. So part of the parcel of the coaching program these startups are getting is on how they should register their right, on how they should ensure that their idea is not being not only stolen, but copied by somebody else. So that is well taken care. The second question was on what next after the graduation. So I didn't put in the presentation purposely because I didn't want to bring more hype and become a sales platform rather than experience sharing platform. But because of ask, then I will double click and expand it more. So for us, first, we know that we need to provide solution beyond connectivity. So we need really to use our platform, our brand, to empower these young innovators. Part of the program is the fact that if their solution is in line with our strategy, we onboard them as a partner. As I speak, one of the graduates from Cohort 1 is already on our platform as a partner. If you have my Vodacom app as of now, if you go to the bundle, you'll see syllable bundles. That startup is providing solutions on education. And that startup not only was the first in our cohort, but also was the only startup that won last year Google's startup for Africa out from the entire East African Central. That shows how quality our program is. The second one was again relating to the same, what happens after graduation. So we do follow up and we do keeping assisting these guys. The results are encouraging and it gives us more reasons as to why you should continue supporting. They triple their sales, they triple. I tell you, for example, just Madarasa, only 12 months with us. They've not only employed more staff, they entered the program with 4, now they've got 12 permanent employees. Their customers has tripled, their revenue has tripled, to mention a few. And because they are now into the validation, we expect more. And for sure, they are on the better position with the other winners as well. And as I've said, they are building and they're improving more based on what the feedback we gave them. You never know. Come next year, I may onboard all of them as partners of Vodacom Tanzania. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Raymond.
Thank you very much. I think I got a couple of questions, but I will start with the one of, can we train for the future? That was really a key question, and which I think everybody should reflect as we are on this room. But maybe to respond it, I will say, do we have a choice? We don't have a choice because statistics and data shows that the jobs or what we'll be doing in the next 15 years is actually not, it's not yet there. So which means whatever we are training now, if we continue that way, we are likely to be relevant in the next 15 years. However, for me, what I see is that at the end of the day, in the 15 years, we'll be there. So does that mean that we not have a job? We will have a job or we have something to do. But for universities, what I would recommend is that, as they say, we try to be, to train our student to be a jack of all, but also master something. Because I think one of the challenges we have as we go on is that our students are not, they are rigid. They have become, of course, as the professors who teach them, they have become rigid. We need to make sure that they have skills that allow them to explore and to be adaptable. And really, this relates to one experience we recently had. We had a training. We have one of these centers of excellence in data science, and they were running a short course. And in that short course, there was a retired 70 years old who came to do and to learn data analytics. For me, the question was, how many of our staff would actually swallow their pride and do that, knowing that data analytics or data science is going to be the next move? How many of us are willing to do that? We need really to find a mechanism of having this faculty enrichment program that are not that helps us to upgrade ourselves, but also really emphasize the aspect of attitude, the aspect of ethics, the attitude, and of course, if we are thinking of the gig economy, we definitely need to think of our youth. Maybe as we give them skills, we need to allow them to also not thinking of just one job, just one company. Maybe they need to develop skills which they can offer to different companies. So, and that brings me to the last question, actually. How do we change the university so they thrive and the philosophy of education and the whole ecosystem? Maybe to respond to that, we need again to put it in a context. Is the university degree necessary? Absolutely. It is very necessary. Let me give you a little bit of statistics. At least if we talk about Rwanda. In Rwanda, only 7% of labor force is contribute. I mean, the people who have a university degree in the whole labor force, it's only 7%. What does that mean? There is a lot that can be done. And also in that 7%, that's the median of higher income when we talk about it, which means that at the end of the day, if we have to develop or we have to move, definitely a university degree is going to be very necessary. But again, the disruption or the change of the thinking cannot just ignore government and public sector, as Prof from Sudan was talking about it. For example, in Rwanda, 80% of university graduates are actually absorbed by the public sector or government. The question is, how do we then expand either what the government is doing and we do it properly, or we expand into that 97% jobs that are held by people with secondary school or primary school. So there is, as much as we think we have saturated the market, still the market is there. The question is, how then do we do that? How then do we adapt? And for that, because I was in a discussion with the executive committee on Monday, comes the aspect of not just philosophy, but accreditation. How are we accommodating? How do we accommodate innovation? For example, if we want in Rwanda, if you want to introduce, let's say, any change on the program, in the normal case, it will take at least 2 years to have that process, developed, accredited, and all that. Can we continue that? Again, we need to look at this as a whole ecosystem. But my take on this, and I will repeat it again, we definitely need to think of new incentive and structures that allow actually our academics to be able to participate in this economy. I'm very sure if they would say, you know what, give you a grant to start your business, and then if it is successful, we also invest in that. I'm very sure many of you here would start jumping on the opportunity, but that's not how we set, and that's not how we work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Raymond. Professor Judy, please go ahead.
My colleague from Makerere, thank you for the question. This is how I'll answer this question. Academia today has to realize that the times have changed. Look at just the 2 years when we had COVID and what changed the way we do things. Even in administration of our teachers, management of our teaching, all that has to change. The graduate we are teaching or the student we are teaching is of a different era, and therefore we need to deploy so many techniques to be able to manage that student. Getting to the answer, as long as I get the return on investment from my teacher, from my lecturer, and is able to do all what is supposed to do for this student, what they do beyond what they expected to do for me is their personal business. And this is supporting me. I get the proceeds in the way they come and teach my student. Simple. Because they are in practice, they know how the law works, how it is done right within the industry. They bring that right to the class. For me, I'm benefiting because the student is being trained in the right way, and I'm getting my return on investment. So once they are there in the courts of law, they are practicing, I'll get my proceeds when they come to class and train my student in the right way. So I don't have to bother. So universities do not have to think that I need to be able to get something from this lecturer. No, forget it. For information, many of your staff, the engineers, the lawyers, they are doing it. And they've been doing it for the last so many years. Since 2007, I've been owning a company of ICT, an ICT company to date, and I still run it as a CEO to date. So if all these people have been following up on whatever I do, then probably I will not be employing all the people I'm employing. So I think we need to rethink and allow them to bring back the practical experience within class. I think that is very, very important for us. How they are able to teach when they are actually practicing. There is a culture that has been built within that school of law. That when somebody is unable to teach, they are so responsible that one other colleague can actually take up the class and this one takes up the other class on the other side. But even they are deploying e-learning right from their chambers and they are able to teach the students very well. So I think we need to just rethink the way we are doing all these things to be able to deliver to our students in the best way possible. But we need to get the industry right within the academia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Startup Africa, you have a response?
Hello. I think the question that from the lady from Ethiopia, you are asking about the board and how to strengthen. So essentially, Startup Africa is a non-profit organization, and there is a government requirement for non-profit organizations to have board of directors for fiduciary responsibilities. But also another role that board members play is fundraising, in addition to what the staff do. But looking at our own journey to where we are today, I would say that our activities, our operations have been strengthened by the expertise, the experiences of the diverse board members that we have. Some of them are from Africa, some of them are from the USA. And each and every person who sits on that board brings something to the table that contributes to the success of the mission. But fast forward, earlier on I spoke about the bold goal that we made, that by the year 2030, we'd like to reach 10 million youth across the continent of Africa. We started looking deeper and asking ourselves, what is this going to take? And we realized that it was not just going to take the board of directors of the staff or whatever. So that's why I started looking strategically, who did I have in my network that could help me build an advisory board? An advisory board, just industry leaders from different industries that I could tap on for areas that I know as a leader I'm weak in, and where they could come in and advise. So I made a goal that I wanted 10 of them by last year, and by December last year, we had 10 of them. Some of them again from the USA, some of them from Africa. And they come from different industries. But these individuals, ladies and gents, come from academia, they come from government, they come from IT, healthcare, etc. And as each of these person came on board, there was one ask for them. Could I tap into their experiences? Could I tap into their networks? Because we know that to achieve 10 million youth by the year 2030 is a big undertaking. But I know that working with these individuals and their networks, that number is possible. And that's why if you're looking at how you're going to bring in the board members to support you, number one, I always say, don't look at your friends. Yes, you might have very good friends that you network with, you work with, but sometimes friends can be your undoing. Try to look outside, of course, from your network. There might be people you have done business with, people you work with, people you've met in conferences like these ones that have something to bring to the table. Number two, make sure that they are diverse. What are they bringing? What strengths are they bringing to your organization or your operations that can support you? Where are you weak in? So for example, one of the areas that for us at South Africa, we are looking at is, if we're truly going to make an impact to the young people of Africa, we need to raise a lot of money. And that is why that advisory board for us is very key. These are people, very successful business people. They have huge networks. And I know that because they believe in our mission, they're going to open doors for us. They're going to do something. So like, for example, one of the advisory board members, he runs a business in the USA. He has operations here in Africa, in South Africa. So once he heard about our mission, he immediately deployed his managing director in South Africa and said, we need to open a Startup Africa chapter in South Africa. So as of last year, Startup Africa had opened an office in South Africa, and he's already supporting with the fundraising efforts, both from the USA, and he has also given the mandates to his managing director in South Africa to do the same. So for me, I would say, look deeply into what is it that you're lacking, do a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and ask yourself, what are the kind of people that you need to bring to the table? And what are they going to benefit you in the long run? Don't feel, one thing I always say, sometimes we pretend that we know what we don't know. So never be that person who says, I know everything. Personally, I know I don't know everything. That's why I knock doors in places where I know that I have weaknesses in, so that those people who are the experts can come in and support that mission, because that mission is bigger than myself. There was also a question that I would wish to quickly respond to. Are universities responding to community needs? I think it was raised by the professor here. from my own experience working with a number of universities, both here and back in the USA, it's a yes and no answer. And I say yes and no answer because universities that have professors, administrators that think outside the box are the ones that are actually sending their students, their professors into the communities to find out what the problems are and helping resolve them. In 2017, 2018, we organized a very successful entrepreneurship exchange program for students from a college in the USA, Medgar Evers College, to come to Kenya for 2 weeks. During that time, their professor, the Dean School of Business, for her, her desire was to expose her students to the world outside the USA. Many times we always think that the USA has everything, but we know that also Africa has something to offer. Out of that experience of our students coming to Africa, those students are now being exposed, and some of them actually have started businesses between Kenya and USA. They work collaboratively with people in Kenya. They source their products here. They have their products made in Kenya and they sell them in USA. So as we look into how are universities addressing those needs, for me, I would say, let's look at for example, some of the great professors that I had that challenged me, that said, go into the community, find out what the problem is, and come back, let's discuss about it. Once we've discussed it, what can we do about that problem? And also looking at one of my mentors that I've had in life, Dr. Tony Allen, who's the president at Delaware State University. There was that he shared years ago that I've always meant so much for me as a leader. And those words is, I am the voice, I will lead, not follow. I'll create, not destroy. I'm a force for good, a force for peace, defy the odds, set a new standard. So how do we defy the odds as academicians, industry leaders, and go to uncharted places, challenge our students so that when they go into an office, they don't just have a CV, which just has their names, their contact information, high school diploma, or current students or graduate, and nothing else. Let's challenge them to go out there and volunteer for projects that can add something to their CV so that when they show up in somebody's office, they have skills that they're showing. For example, if I'm a CEO in a company, somebody shows up in my office, do I know that you have the soft skills that I need for this particular person? Do I know that you can do a project? Do I know that you can show up on time? So that to me will be a challenge, so that as universities think about the jobs of the future, how do we address community needs? We also start looking at beyond the theory, can we send our students into the field, into the local community? What problems are there, and how can we work with now the professors, the industry, and our students to address those particular problems? And the good news is that work is possible.
Thank you very much. I think there's a lot to share from Startup Africa. I want to invite the voter to intervene, and then John will come last, please.
Thank you so much. I just want to add on the previous speakers, especially on 2 points. The first one is on the question that was raised on the academia training graduates, but the government, who is the main employer, actually is not so much connected into the process. And I would just like to raise this as, in academia, how do we even engage the government in the process of training? So far, as we are speaking about the academia industry engagement, do we put in public sectors or government agencies into the process? Do we send our students to different government entities and organizations to train and learn how they can actually add value into those processes? Because I think that is one point of focus that we can prove relevance to what the government is doing. And actually our graduates, once they are done, they will then be relevant for different tasks and opportunities that can be available, and also they will add value to the processes that are going on in different government entities or agencies. So my point here is for us to think as academics, how do we add value to the government processes based on the graduates that we are training and sending them out there? The second thing that I wanted to add is on the higher education ecosystem. we can acknowledge that the process of changing or updating a single component in our teaching and learning curriculum can take so long, as given by an example from my colleague. But I think we need to also think around how do we actually implement our teaching and learning models at universities? Do we focus on training and the students should go out and look for jobs? Or we have a model which actually trains the students to become innovators and who can commercialize products and also have facilities and systems for technology transfer. So for me, these are three new components that universities need to bring into their teaching and learning models to make sure that we train innovators who can actually commercialize products, and we have systems and support infrastructure for technology transfer. And to add on to the issue of how do we prepare for the future, or can we really train for the future? I am a believer in short-term certifications for students. So in addition to having them graduate degrees, we need to see how relevant they are by making sure that we give them more extracurricular activities which can certify them for the current immediate needs, but also the foreseen future as far as technology is concerned. And I am very positive that even in the other sectors, there are various drivers which require immediate solutions or immediate innovations, and they can even think about what is the next move that should be done. And this can be achieved through short-term certifications and extracurricular activities in our universities.
Thank you very much, Devota. John, you promised a lot, so I want to hear from you how much you're going to give.
So to the professor who asked a question about what is available, there's a huge catalog of from the IBM portfolio. So, I mean, we've been in this business for a long time, so our software portfolio is quite large. If you go to the website, I'll give you the link, skillsbuild.org, skillsbuild, skillsbuild.org, skillsbuild.org. And then when you register for that, go to software downloads and you can have a look at the portfolio. The only, let's say, right I would add on this is that because I'm talking to an audience that is primarily academia, possibly the one that you might miss there is the SPSS statistics, because this is when I talk to universities, this is the first question they ask, is SPSS statistics free? No, that one is the amongst maybe one other one that will not be on that website, because you are our primary customers for that, right? So we would not give that one at no charge. But everything else is available there, and literally you'll find hundreds of software titles. And this is not, let's say like a shareware or a mini version of it's actually the full software. So we make this available for academia so that you can try and use. The only thing that we say is that use it for academic purposes only, right? So as an institution, I'm sure you've got your own system that you run, but that is not available for use in running the university systems. It's only for teaching and learning research purposes, right? So have a look at it. Feel free to reach out to me and I'll be happy to guide you and your students to utilize that resource. The other thing, another colleague asked about how do we train for the future? This is things that we have been doing for a long time. I think the benefit that a company like ours has is that we've got a huge pool of expertise. I think we're fortunate to have our research organization. So IBM Research is an industrial research facility, and we actually have centers here in Africa. And what's the job of IBM Research? I mean, they're thinking about the technologies of the future, right? So they're looking 10 years ahead. So we've got a huge team of researchers who are looking at topics like artificial intelligence. Yesterday, we had an interesting conversation. Right now, I think the big talk in town is ChatGPT, right? I think many of you are. But this is something that had been there many years. It's just that now it's coming and it's being put out in the open. So we have colleagues that are doing this kind of work on artificial intelligence. I mean, ChatGPT is a generative AI model. We've got other colleagues who are doing work in other areas. So how do we start training for the future? So we've got content that we are putting together. If you go to the skills build, you'll see that we've got introductory content for artificial intelligence. But when we go further and we engage with universities, we can go deeper and train them on other topics around data science, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and so on. Like I think what Devolta mentioned. So we can begin working on this kind of things fairly early and preparing them. Quantum computing is another field of computing that is now beginning to gain traction. But we've been at it already for some time as a company. We just before the COVID pandemic, we've been working with a number of universities, training the faculty on quantum computing, and even giving them access to this quantum computing environment. So right now, it's still a very, let's say, nation technology, but in a few years' time, it's going to become mainstream. So those who are beginning to get into it and become experts in that area, I mean, they will be at the forefront of this technology. And you know, this is some of the areas that we could collaborate on. I think to be practical, and I want to leave it on a note where I like being a man of action, right? And I would like to propose something to the IUCA that, yes, we're talking about all these things. I'm sure I've mentioned skills build, you've looked at the website, but the reality is that a lot of this quote unquote free offering is not really consumed until when someone builds something around it. So I would like to propose to the IUCA, I mean, I'm willing to commit resource and expertise from IBM to take a group, and I mean, I don't have to go with everybody, but if we can find a group that we could work with, I think through the sponsorship or through the guidance of ICA, we could identify, I had previously mentioned there was centers of excellence that I think are across the region. This could be a good group that we could work with, or again, I stand to be guided from the ICA perspective. So a group of institutions that we could collaborate with. If each of these institutions could identify or nominate 10 faculty members, right? I commit to have them get into a training program, right? On artificial intelligence or data science or whatever it is that we'll agree on. And these 10 faculty members, we then make, I mean, this technology is available, but now when you've gone through the training, we can work with you to have this available to your faculty and to your students. And then again, support in each of these institutions, have you train 100 students, and then we will support them again with the tests and certification around it. And if we go even further, again, this is why I say we could work under the framework of IUCA. Let's explore a mechanism where we could have some of your students come into our research facility, work under this research scientists. Okay, we did this, we had a pilot of this during the pandemic where working together with the World Bank program, we had a number of students coming from a number of countries in West Africa. So they came in to Nairobi, met with their supervisors, picked their computing equipment, went back to their countries and have been working on various projects. And now they're closing that internship program end of this month. So if we could work on a framework like this, I think then we can have some results so that next year, if we do meet at the 13th conference, I would be willing to report results of what was the outcome of that effort. And if we see our system where we could scale this even further. And then just, I think on the question that came up, why not even propose a faculty fellowship? Have some of, again, from the same group of institutions, have them come in and spend 3 or 6 months, again, entrenched into deep research programs, because I mean, the research lab that we are talking here is a network of research labs of IBM that is across the world, and engaging in deep and high level research. So you can then get into really the cutting edge of what technology research is all about. Many times we get criticized as IBM. Sometimes we put out calls for internships, and one of the requirements is a PhD for the interns. But when you talk about what the research lab does, I mean, we need individuals who will join at that level, because they will get in. The requirement is they need to come out with papers, patents, and so on, because that is the kind of work that the team is involved in. So an opportunity to the IUCA, if this is something that you'd like to explore, the door is open. Let's have a discussion, and we develop a program around this. And I mean, the commitment, obviously, it's going to require resource from our side, which I'm ready to put in. And I think what I've seen success is if we have some sort of co-funded program where IUCA or other partners can support that. And then from our side, we are supporting this program, and then, let's see what happens. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. I believe the rapporteurs have taken note of the offer that is given by IBM. I want to interact with the audience that is online. Is there any question from online participants? Benny, can you show the online participants? There might be some questions from the chat. It seems we are not getting any response from one of the participants. Let me stop this session now by, first of all, thanking Devota, John, Erastus, Professor Jude, Raymond, and Engineer Nguvu for your very good presentation. And I think the session has been very, very, very useful for us. And I want to thank you once again. Can you clap for the presenters, please? And that marks the end of our Q&A session. And thank you very much once again. Now, the last plenary presentation is coming from our online participants. This is coming all the way from Korea, Professor Park Shijon from an institution, a university in Korea. I don't know, Ben, if the professor is connected and if he's ready to make his presentation. And that will be followed by Q&A addressing that particular presentation. Are we having him online?
Yes, I can see him. He's online.
So can you ask him to share his screen and make his presentation? Yes, Professor, are you driving?
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I'm moving to another place. It's fine.
Okay, go ahead.
Actually, can you open my PPT or the video, the first and before I talk to something?
Ben, please, can you open the video that was shared earlier? Yes, that is the presentation from Simba. Go ahead,
yes,
please.
Yes, actually, and also I sent you the video file, the two video files, Larry, and regarding my presentation. So can you open it there? Okay, so I want everybody to share my presentation, my PPT file, and also, and we don't need to the waste the time. That's why I need to. What time? How long can I have the time for the speech? Is 10 minutes?
Yes, if you can do 10 minutes, it will be appreciated, please. Go ahead.
Actually, I sent to you. Thank you so much. And I sent to you the two video file. The first one is the presentation and by mine, and the second one is the speech by the president of the Institute of the Intellectual Property. Okay, so first of all, and it is very honorable to make a speech and for in front of the general executive, the secretary of IUCA, and Mr. Jervis and Mr. Alex and all the professor and the vice chancellor. Thank you so much. And this is Mr. Park, and from you can remember my name just Shimba. The Shimba is the name of the internet. So, and I am the head professor of the Samyuk Health University in South Korea, and also I am the executive director of the Korea Africa Business Biz Center. So first of all, and everything I want to talk to you and deliver my message, and you can read the PPT. The main things I want to tell you is, and I have the visit to Africa for the past 16 years, but it's not easy to make both the countries, especially the universities, and collaborate and build up the good relationship. Okay, that's why, and I am here, and also I know the best solution how we can develop the opportunities so that and both countries and the universities from the Eastern Africa side and the Korean side, and the build up the good relationship to create many opportunities. And in South Korea, there are 407 universities. And basically, more than half of the university, they are finding the new partner. New partner means, and that they want to build up the good relationship. They want to create the opportunities and the activities with the Africa University just now. The problem we have, and that they don't have any informations, and what I mean is they don't know and which universities there are in the Eastern Africa and each countries. This is the biggest problem. And oppositely, and in IUCEA, I can ask the professor and the vice chancellor and all the attendees, how many universities do you know in South Korea? Even if I told you, and that there are the 407 universities. So this is one of the biggest issue we have to solve. That's why, and as you see my presentation, and we have developed just the web page platform. The name of the platform is We Friends. so that all the university can find the partner university. At the first time, initial stage, we will start from Africa side and the Korea side. And I can be sure and I can make the other Asian countries, the university join in this platform so that each parties to know who is who exactly. Okay, and secondly, and what I want to do is, and the university, nobody can deny the fact that the role of the university is very important to renovate and develop industry in each country. In South Korea, it was the same because as everybody knows, almost 70 years ago, the Korea was the poorest country in the world. But right now, and the Korea was the top ranked economy, the biggest economic country, even if we don't have enough the mining resources, energy resources. And the only things we have is the human resources, as you know. That's why the role of the university is very, very important. Okay, so now, and I told you I have to travel to visit to Africa almost for the past 16 years. But initial stage, unfortunately, and when I come to the Korean government and when I come to the Korean companies and they didn't recognize why they come to Africa, but fortunately, and situation was wholly changes because right now, the many Korean company, many Korean universities, the Korean government, they want to find a new market like Africa. But the problem is that they don't know how they can kick off, how they can start their business and their activities on the ground in Africa. That's why in a business range of the academic industry field, the university in the countries and they can manage and take care of the new the pioneer, the frontier, the companies. So what I mean is when the companies, especially SMEs come to the Africa, the university can provide the administration service, then the legal service, even the marketing, even when the Korean company need the workers and the university can recommend and the workers for the recruiting. And so the Korean companies will start to set up the business under each university. This is one of the perfect way we can start immediately because right now, as I told you, and I am the director of the Korea Africa Business Center, the many Korean companies are coming to me and they ask me how they can start the business in Africa, but they are very scared of starting the business in Africa because they don't know who will be the best, the partner, local partner there, and even they don't know how they can start the company registration papers, anything else. So, if possible, I know the universities that can manage and control all the issue for the Korean company, even additionally the Asian companies. So, and finally, and I add the intellectual property section. And in South Korea, and there are, as I told you, and there is this is the Korean the government corporation and the Korean the Institute of the Intellectual Property, and in KIIP and the president of this institute, and they made a decision to start working and with the Africa University to set up the system and in a business field of the IP. And also they have the knowledge and the experience, the strategy, even they told me and that they can start to set up the system with the the university, and the Korean government will support the funds and so that we can make the set up this system in Africa. That's why, please, and I know the 10 minutes is very short and to have a presentation, but please review my old PPT and even the possible, please play the video. I sent you the 2 type of the video. So I'm really sorry, and I didn't take part in this great forum, but on May, and definitely I will visit to the head office of IUCEA in Uganda. So, and I believe that we can create many business opportunity and under the universities. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor Park, for a very good presentation and offering the opportunities for universities in East Africa and Africa in general. Do you have any question for Professor Park? It seems your presentation was well taken, and you should expect some feedback from IUCEA and the rest of the audience. So thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the day. I hope it is the day. What time is it there?
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, good day.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.